I have been searching.
Welcome to Following the Fire, a podcast for Christians who are rethinking their faith and need a safe place to doubt. As we wander through the spiritual wilderness, we want to find and follow God wherever the pillar of fire leads.
And just like God's people in the Bible, we get lost, we miss the point, and we don't have all the answers. But maybe that's okay. We're on this journey together. I'm Nathan.
And I'm Steve.
Even on my heart can't compare with what you're.
What I do is I go and I, about once every year, or ish, and I get a new prescription, and then I forget to get glasses. I mean, I got a new prescription in like June. Have I gotten these fixed yet? No, this is the old prescription.
You gotta hurry. It'll run out. They don't give you long. This time, I'm gonna do the old man thing and buy 2 pairs of the same glasses.
That's smart.
Yep.
You know,
I do that with shoes.
That's like peak adulting right there, man.
Yep. You never know when they're gonna change something.
How was your Halloween?
I had a good Halloween. It was an unusual one here in Colorado. No like winter coat needed.
Yeah, it was weird. No snow.
So that really opens up the costume options.
Yeah, global warming isn't all bad, right?
No, great for Halloween. Lot of loot collected.
Yeah,
a lot of neighbors participating. I think the COVID fear has dissipated because last year it was still very real, and this year I think there was a lot higher percentage participation. So
there was like last year we went all out. We're being the cool house, and we're gonna full size bars,
full size candy bar. Yeah,
and we had like piles of full size candy bars, and like 10 kids came.
mm-hmm.
And usually we have like 70 or 80 or more.
Oh wow!
And so this year, Christy's like, I'm not doing that again because we had so much candy. And then,
yeah,
I mean, you can't let it go to waste, so you gotta, eat it, right?
You just gotta eat it, yeah.
And I'm tired of going to the dentist, so didn't do that this year. And just got regular candy, and we ran out, just like right about the right time. So all's well that ends well on Halloween, I guess.
Yeah.
Are you a scary movie guy?
No, I am a wimp when it comes to movies. So about the scariest that I can handle is Signs.
Oh, okay.
Where it's like evangelical scary.
It's like haunted house at church scary.
Yeah.
But exactly. Like not haunted house at mega church that's about like scaring you out of hell, right?
No, that would be too much for me for sure. Yeah. No, I do not have an appetite for scary movies, but my wife loves them, and even my son, he enjoys how much that I am afraid of them.
Really?
So any movie that is like has a hint of scary, he wants to watch it because he knows that I'm going to be scared. So.
Oh wow.
I Am Legend was too scary for me.
Yeah.
Like thrillers are a little bit too much.
Yeah, I'm the exact opposite. Like nothing. I probably just deadened myself to anything now. I really enjoy scary stuff, but
yeah,
I'm not a fan of like jump scary type stuff. It seems cheap, but I like intellectual scary.
Okay.
Sometimes
what's an example of intellectual scary?
Like, for example, so sometime I think I'm going to do an episode on the Netflix show Midnight Mass.
Never heard
it's
of
it. It's a series of like 10 episodes long. It's like one and done type of thing. But it's about a little island there's a one church on the island. It's a little Catholic church, and things happen, and it's scary. People die. But it has some of the deepest theology and interesting things that I've ever come across. So I might ask you to go outside of your comfort zone at some point and watch that. But no, I'm not going to force you to.
All right. It's scary.
But that's
so,
what I mean by intellectuals. It's like, it's not like lots of jump scares, not gross blood spurting everywhere, all that kind of thing. It's more
okay.
like existential horror. Like if like, I don't know. Look, there's a lot
It won't
of
scare me in the moment, but I'll just be like kind of scared for the rest of my life a little bit.
Yes, like the kind of thing that you will think about years later. Like a movie that I just saw on Halloween called Midsommar. It's
oof. Is that an old movie?
No,
not old,
it's
but
pretty
like
new.
5 years.
2019, maybe.
I think that looked terrifying.
That
like a cult movie
is so terrifying. Like legitimately. Partly because it's the only horror movie I've ever seen in my life where it's none of it is in the dark or in the shadows. It's all bright light.
Ooh.
Everything looks happy and fun. You know, pretty girls dancing around with flowers in their hair, and then, oof. Do not watch that movie. But that's a movie I will be thinking about next year. Like, yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. I can't.
Talk about your
not
religious deconstruction.
Yeah. I do like, so not horror, but I would say dark comedy is probably my favorite genre. And especially, I think there's a director, Martin McDonagh.
McDonagh?
And he directed In Bruges. And In Bruges is this very existential movie where it's, you know, the themes in the movie are they're kind of beating you over the head with it, but I love it because it happens in Belgium, so that's maybe why.
Is it in English or Flemish?
It's in English, yeah. It's in the Queen's English.
Okay.
Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson.
I'll add it to my watch list.
And it has more gore than I tend to like, so there are hitmen and people get killed and things. I don't usually like that, but the ideas behind it are very intriguing to me. And it's kind of an allegory for purgatory, the whole thing. But in this case, purgatory is Bruges, Belgium.
Ah. I use this website called Letterboxd to track stuff I want to watch and what I've watched and things like that. And this review, the top review on the In Bruges, the only film where you will witness Mad Eye Moody and Voldemort sit in a bar and call each other names.
Oh, that's right. I knew Mad Eye Moody. I knew Brendan Gleeson was in Harry Potter, but I forget that Ralph Fiennes is Voldemort. How interesting. Yeah, so, but that's pretty old. That's I used to use movies. That's one of the movies that I would use to see if I'm gonna get along with somebody or not.
Really?
So like, you know, a few weeks into a dating relationship or a friend relationship, you can kind of bring that up, watch the movie, and then it's kind of a
litmus test?
A litmus, thank you. I was thinking of chemistry. You got it. Not a very fair litmus test. I don't actually care if you like that movie. Not objective.
Yeah.
But I do feel like what we like, what we celebrate, can be very revealing.
Absolutely.
Like, I feel like those questions like favorite food, what would you bring on an island? What do you listen to? All of those things. There are these little micro clues that you learn about people.
Mm-hmm.
I tend to be very judgmental about those things.
But yeah, and I mean, I've even judgmental at myself or of myself.
Yeah.
Like this, for example, this Letterboxd website has a thing where I can share a link to anybody who wants to follow me or see the movies that I've been watching and stuff like that. I'm never going to do that.
No, how terrifying, how vulnerable.
It's like, I don't want you to know what that tells. This is way too much about what's in my brain and what I'm thinking. And it's
Oh,
embarrassing.
totally. So when I was I've shared this with everyone I've worked with, which is a bad idea. That too vulnerable. I'm an oversharer, which is good for podcast world.
Yeah.
Bad for corporate world. Not a good idea. And I had this summer after college, Netflix was becoming a thing.
Yeah.
I don't know,
like digital or
you children
disc?
out there. No, after digital. So I was going to say, Netflix started. They'd send you your disc
Yeah.
in the mail, and then for a while, some volumes were available only on DVD,
Mm-hmm.
and some volumes were only remote. But when I graduated, I would get the free Netflix trial for a month or whatever. I've done that like 5 times.
Mm-hmm.
But what happens, especially back then, less so now. Now you see things like what's popular, what's trending,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just like those are always bad movies. But back in the day, it was trying to figure out your blueprint and who are you as a person.
The algorithm.
And so you'd watch a movie, you would rate it,
Mm-hmm.
0 to 5 stars, and then it would try to decide what movie would you like based on how you rated that movie.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like the degrees of Kevin Bacon, where it only takes, what is it, 7? You're always
6
7
degrees.
people away from 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. So you can really be radicalized quickly on Netflix, and we know that in Facebook now. But I watched some movie. I don't remember what it was. It might have been like an independent French movie because I was trying to pass a French exam to get credit for French in college. But I was like, that was great. Amelie, maybe. Right?
That's a good movie. Yeah.
And then I said, that was so good. It recommends a movie. It's a little bit weirder, but I think like, you know what? That was great too. And then so it just keeps pushing. How weird is this guy going to get? And the movie, I remember, I watched, this movie was recommended and it said, we think you're going to rate this movie 5 stars.
Really?
And the movie, I believe the name of the movie is Rubber.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of this?
No.
Big blockbuster, Rubber, the movie. Now you have to look it up. And as you would probably assume, it's about a tire that is sentient.
Oh, of course. Oh, my word.
And can make things blow up with its mind.
Oh, my word.
And so it was rated. Do you know what? This is the kind of movie that you are definitely going to love. You're going to love this 5 stars. I watched it. I did love it 5 stars. And then I gave up Netflix. I was like, do you know what? I have to stop.
You've hit the end of Netflix.
I don't know what comes after this. I don't want to know, though. I don't want to see, like, where is the bottom of this rabbit hole.
Wow. I got to read the brief thing. It says,
yeah.
Are you tired of the expected? A group of people gather in the California desert to watch a film set in the late 1990s featuring a sentient homicidal car tire named Robert. The assembled crowd of onlookers watches as Robert becomes obsessed with a beautiful and mysterious woman and goes on a rampage throughout the desert town. Oh my goodness.
Yep.
I've got to see this.
And that is my brush with how the internet can radicalize you, and also why I do not share my
I'm not sure I want to continue doing a podcast with you now. I'll be honest.
Yeah, it's very revealing. Like I said, can really tell a lot about somebody.
Add to watch list.
And now Netflix. This is funny. Netflix is I don't know if it heard, because I read a book about mushrooms, and now all of the recommendations are on Netflix are about mushrooms. So
there's some good ones out there.
Yeah, I think it's because I don't have enough of a personality, so they just don't have very many data points at this point. I don't really watch a whole lot, so they're like, I guess all of these.
Yeah, you gotta watch something random once in a while just to mix it up.
I did watch The Social Dilemma recently.
That's about Zuckerberg?
It's just
Oh no, that's a
social media.
Yeah. I'm thinking of like the other movie about him. Yeah, I,
Yeah,
I'm
so
kind of not. I kind of avoiding that one because
yeah,
I don't want it to.
I
I don't want to know.
I deleted my favorite social media after I watched
No
it.
way.
That's how. So my favorite social media is Instagram.
Mm.
I only have like 8 people that I follow on
Mhm.
Instagram, and I'm related to all of them. But Instagram has fake grown up TikTok, but where you can pretend like you're not on TikTok.
Right.
It
The
has the same thing.
reels.
And Reels, TikTok, they're so good. I mean, they're designed
Mm.
to just hone in on what is going to grab your attention. And I watched that and I thought, man, I love it so much. I could spend hours watching Reels.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm going to delete it because I don't want to spend hours doing that. And then I haven't gone all the way though. I have Facebook on a browser. I can find it,
Mm-hmm.
and Instagram on a browser. And then of course Twitter.
Oh, I don't know what to
But
do about Twitter.
now Elon's in charge. I don't know what to do. But here's the thing. So Elon's in charge. Definitely getting a worse and worse impression of this guy.
Mm-hmm. Same.
But not very long ago, if I had the means, I would have felt pretty good about buying a Tesla.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And I don't necessarily would have. I don't think I would have thought of the two things really closely. Like I wouldn't have been thinking of Mr. Musk at that time, but I have a very favorable view of the brand Tesla.
Mm-hmm. It's got a very good brand recognition and feel.
Yeah.
You know, like you said, it's like you feel like you're doing something cool and fancy and futuristic, and you're helping the planet.
Good for the environment. Yep. But I don't know if that will change or not. But now Elon is like in the center of the news.
Mm-hmm.
That's his whole career. He has been, but
Yeah.
taking over Twitter, and Twitter is I love Twitter so much.
Right. I mean, it's amazing how people like Elon Musk. Everybody's always talking about him as like a genius billionaire, and he may be a genius, but his genius is not in making things. It's like it's in knowing what to buy when. Like he bought Tesla when it was already mostly done. Like it was a startup, and he bought it, and he didn't do anything there.
I did not know that.
Yeah, and he made all his money because he invested in PayPal early on, and before it was called PayPal, and they sold it, and he made like $1 billion or something crazy. He's been living off that since then, and just like investing in the right thing at the right time. And SpaceX did start that, but he's not. He's just good at self promotion too. He's really good at self promotion. Yeah. Making you think that he's different than he really is.
We have it's a new phenomenon where I think it's called attention economy.
Yeah.
You know, Elon Musk is very good at holding and keeping people's attention.
Yeah.
Whether it's positive or negative, doesn't really matter. It's kind of all good press for him. Mm-hmm. Donald Trump, very, very similar skills where, especially when he was on Twitter, Donald Trump was great at staying in the news all the time.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Elon Musk, the same thing. And sometimes he's getting in trouble. Sometimes it's for some outrageous thing he's doing or saying. But that alone is starting to have a huge economic effect, so that the valuation of Tesla, which is significantly higher than companies like Ford, even though they don't actually do or make. Oh, yeah.
I had no idea.
Okay,
I just assumed Ford was.
Let's just look at market cap. Tesla, 673 bajillion. 673 billion. And then we'll do Ford, just as a Ford Motor Co. 52 billion.
Really?
Okay. So how many cars does Tesla's rate is worth more than 10 times Ford Motor Company, Ford of F-150 fame.
Ugh.
I don't know if you've heard of Ford.
Yeah, that rings a bell.
So how many cars does Ford sell a year?
12?
Yeah, it's like in the teens. Okay, 20. I'm just looking at the past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. About 5 to 6 million cars a year.
Okay.
Tesla, about 300,000 cars a year.
Wow.
Right?
It's a
So
lot less.
Ford sells more than 10 times more cars per year.
Mm-hmm.
They actually do things
Mm-hmm.
and make products. Tesla just has Elon Musk saying stuff. And they're worth 10 times more than Ford.
Wow.
Isn't that insane? And that it's just like a great microcosm for, it's a great example of where we are today, where in politics, that attention economy, people like AOC, MTG, Lauren Boebert, even Bernie Sanders, people who can capture the attention somehow and stay in the news. That's starting to be more valuable than things like, say, competence, experience, results, delivery. And so Tesla is this great example of how capitalism is rewarding somebody loud more than like, someone who makes cars.
Yeah.
And does stuff.
And everybody starts looking up to him too.
Yeah.
Like I see all these things online, like read the 5 books that Elon Musk recommends, to be successful. And
yeah, and he has TED Talks, and he's a very inspirational figure for a lot of people. And I don't know, I don't have a completely negative view of Elon Musk. I think there's some interesting, he's an interesting person for sure. But the system that raises that kind of person and elevates them, I think, has problems.
Yeah.
Think of the preacher who is elevated not because of maturity or wisdom or service or whatever, but is hot and new or just great at self marketing. Mark Driscoll is maybe an example of that, where what's happening in our economy also happens in churches, big and small. And the things that our economy rewards, I have this view that that's also what we're rewarding in churches. When people are attractive, I feel like Christians also find them attractive. Or when people are wealthy, or when people are famous, I feel like Christians go along with the same things, and it seems like it should be the exact opposite. That we should be immune to beauty, like how attractive is someone, how sleek is someone, how well-spoken is someone, how wealthy are they or successful.
But there's not much difference.
I don't see much difference, and in the past few years, we've kind of beat this horse to death, but Donald Trump is just such a great example of where white evangelical Christians have placed their value or not placed their value. And so if you look back at the characters and leaders that were lauding, white evangelicals were by far the most supportive group of Donald Trump, compared to any other religious group. And Donald Trump is not a Christian, or was not a Christian at that time. Baby Christian now, I guess. He doesn't live any kind of a life of value that maybe you could see in Mike Pence, or I don't know, someone else who's kind of like living out some kind of a Christian life. But he was perceived to be very successful, and then he bullied the right people, and that is what it took to attract the support of all of the people who were raised with the same religion as me.
Yeah. That's interesting. How you said he bullied the right people, because he did.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of people he could have bullied that he didn't, and he just picked the right ones. People that Christians in America tend to think it's okay to bully those guys, since they're bad to begin with.
Yeah, and there's a long, there was an us and them situation that happened that I think led to that, where Christians for a long time, especially evangelical Christians, started to have a narrative that we were oppressed and that we were that there was a bias in the media against us, a bias in universities and the intellectual class against Christianity, and just various groups, the gays, who had set themselves against us.
Mm-hmm.
And so years of this victim mentality certainly prepared us for supporting someone who was going to fight on our side. But it's still not what I would have expected. My idea of Christianity, who Christians are supposed to lift up or celebrate or want to emulate, has always been the opposite of Elon Musk, Donald Trump types. And one thing I'm wondering is why. I also think of people like Tim Tebow.
Yeah.
Or do you remember Colt McCoy?
No.
Okay, Colt McCoy. Give me a second for
that almost sounds like a made up name for like a romance novel or something. Colt McCoy.
For sure. Colt McCoy sounds like, what's the car in the Disney adaptation of the Doctor thing? Okay, now I'm
not sure. Kit? It's Knight Rider.
Okay, now I'm going down a rabbit trail. So first, Doc Hollywood.
Oh.
You know the movie Doc Hollywood?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a Disney movie. This is a very long way to find this answer. There's a Disney movie that was just Doc Hollywood, only all the characters are cars who talk. Cars. Okay, the name is Cars. What's the guy's name? What's the car's name? Cars, the movie.
The main guy.
Flip Piston. I just made it up. What's the name?
Shoot, I can't think of it.
I can't even. This is so hard to Google because Cars is not a good name for a movie. Disney.
You gotta do Pixar Cars.
Plot. Oh my goodness.
Lightning McQueen.
I'm not even close. Okay. I thought his name was closer to Colt McCoy. Colt McCoy was a college quarterback.
Okay.
Who did he play for? College career. University of Texas. Okay. Like really hot quarterback, University of Texas, but also Church of Christ.
Really? He's
affiliated.
Plays for the Cardinals now, Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, professional quarterback now. But this guy was just a hot quarterback in the 2000-somethings. But because he was Church of Christ, he really blew up in my circles and the people who are really proud. Like we have Colt McCoy and Weird Al.
Right.
And so what Colt McCoy, it's not like he was like servant-hearted or like in a jail ministry, or he was just good at a game called football.
And happened to go to a Church of Christ. The throwy guy.
And in a Church of Christ. And so just like immediate allegiance from from our community. In the Church of Christ, like the allegiance is very strong if you're actually COC, if you're tribe. But if you think of, let's say, like evangelical support for George Bush, that was very much a thing. Like this guy is affiliated with us. And so we place our support behind him, even though he's very loosely affiliated with us. But that's all it took.
Mhm.
Like Colt McCoy, again, he's probably a stand-up guy, but he was just good at football.
Yeah.
And that evolved into the overwhelming support of people like Donald Trump, which is now evolving into its election season. It's probably election day when this comes out. And in Colorado here, Lauren Boebert in her district is extremely connected to the local church in her district,
Oh yeah.
is very vocal about her Christianity, and is a very hateful person.
Yeah. Extremely. But it's almost like doesn't matter how bad they are. If they say, "Oh, I'm going to church," then like everything's fine.
Yeah, and Donald Trump is not going to church, so we kind of leapt the tracks from, I don't know, a faithful believer, being defined as someone who goes to church on Sunday.
Yeah.
And what Lauren Boebert is doing, or Donald Trump is kind of fighting against the enemy in our society that is perceived to be the enemy of Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I guess I'm asking, how did we get here? But also, like, who should Christians celebrate? I don't think it should be celebrity or powerful or rich. And how do we recognize the right kind of people instead of just following our society into being in love with Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos or Steve Jobs or whoever is successful and or bold or strong?
So why do Christians honor and elevate people who are horrible people?
Not Christ. Yeah. The Jerry Falwell Jr. documentary also just came out.
Oh.
He's just another example of this guy's on our side, not necessarily a stand-up guy.
Yeah.
But we're on his side. It's like if we read the Bible and Goliath was on our side. That's
right.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's like, man, this guy is great. He's mean, he's strong, and he's on our side.
Right.
And it'd be interesting if the Bible was like that, it'd make a lot more sense. That like every once in a while we just say, hey, we just got a Goliath. And, they're tough to keep fed or whatever you have to do with one of those. But it's nice to have the big one on your side. But that's the opposite. The Goliath is not the good guy in Christianity.
I think this is just indicative of like everything that's wrong with modern Christianity, to be honest. It's that, I mean, when I think about this problem of who do we elevate, who do we put up at the top of the list of, like, you're a great person, I want to be like you, or talk about you, like read the books you read. It's become, in America these days, it's become about power, period. And one could argue it's always been about power for humanity. And I think what's going on now is that I think Christians have always, I mean, Christians are people, right? And people people admire power. It's kind of built into us. I don't know. We admire and want to be like people who have power. And that's taken a lot of, it's shown itself in a lot of ways over the years, whether that power is celebrity or money or literal physical power. Do you remember the dudes who I never saw them back in the 80s or 90s, the power team, Christian power team?
No.
I think they were called. Yeah, the power team. It's a group of Christian evangelists, and they incorporate their preaching with displays of strength and martial arts skills.
Oh, that's so cool. Okay.
Like these dudes, like these huge hulking guys, they'd come to your church, or they have an event and you invite your friends because these guys are strong. And they go up and they bend bars and they tear phone books in half and stuff like that. And all the while, like, look what Jesus can do through you. Rah!
Yeah.
And
It's so funny.
And what they were doing is just tapping into they're still going. Oh, sorry, I got distracted. The power team
Coming
got come.
soon to. Oh my goodness.
Anyway, what they're doing, they're tapping into the basic lizard brain mentality of humanity that if you are big and you are strong, then that is a good thing. Same reason why CEOs in America, aside from most of them being white dudes, they're almost all above 6 feet tall. Almost all of them.
Lots of hair.
Yeah. And because we subconsciously, don't even think about it, we assume that if you are a bigger, stronger person, that you are a good leader. Now, sure, if that probably, I mean, it would have helped back in the days when we were, fighting in the jungles with each other, or even just, like on horseback, like with swords and stuff.
Yeah.
The bigger guy is going to win, and you want to be on that side. And
that makes so much sense, but what doesn't make sense to me is I don't find that in the Bible anywhere.
No, not at all.
And I find the exact opposite. Like the entire story is Jesus humbling himself and then sacrificing and sacrificing and sacrificing and giving up.
Yep.
And then his leader saying, "Wait a minute, aren't we supposed to attack people?" And he says, "No." And then his Sermon on the Mount is an anti-attractive, anti-power, anti-rich manifesto for setting up this system that is the inverse of what Rome is, which is power and might and wealth and whatever.
And I think you've hit the nail on the head as far as why so many people that I've talked to don't want to be called Christians anymore. They don't want to be aligned with that idea because they are the people that don't want to be. Ironically, the people that I have met who don't want to be called Christians are some of the most Christian people that I know, because they have aligned themselves with the teachings of Jesus and what he stood for, and they have seen that has become 100% reversed in today's culture. It's like somebody took the Sermon on the Mount and said, let's do the opposite of this and call it Christianity. I mean, I mean, this is exactly why. I mean, people often say that Trump was a large part of a large trigger for their deconstruction, and for me as well, and the climate that he kind of nurtured around that whole thing. But I think what it comes down to is that he was the trigger for lots of Christians he was the trigger for a lot of people to realize that what we have been calling Christianity in America for so long is not Christianity as it was designed to be. And when I found out that some people that I honored and respected so much, who taught me so much about God and the right and wrong, were championing this guy. I mean, we've said this many times before. When I saw that, I thought, what else did they teach me that was wrong? Or that I misunderstood, or who knows what. So, I mean, it's a huge problem.
I still just struggle with how I don't understand how the whole system, the Christian system, that is diving into the story of Jesus and these stories in the Bible, and that is what brings them together. That is what is defining their culture. I would, if I was a scientist, my hypothesis would be the people reading these stories, when they encounter a system that is unjust, they're going to go for the losers. Their
Underdog.
ideology tells them choose the underdog.
Yeah.
Or when there is someone lording over someone, or rich or powerful, this ideology teaches people to be meek and sacrificing and humbling themselves.
Yeah.
In the face of that, even as a defense against the worst extremes of that, which we saw in Rome, that this is an ideology that if you grow up with this, that if this is what defines you, and you encounter this in life, this group, on average, is going to choose to be humble or sacrificing, or choose the meek or peace-seeking person. And it's discouraging to me. I know there are tons of Christians who do that, but the community that I was a part of and the community that I see as a group did not choose that.
Yeah.
And it makes me think that I guess this is obvious, but we're formed more by our culture than by our actual beliefs or ideologies or the stories that we tell about ourselves. Just the stuff. We still are attracted to fame and celebrity and wealth and symmetrical faces and
yeah,
nice clothes. I don't know that. Have you had the same therapist for like a long time?
Yeah, a couple of years.
When you found them, did you ever find yourself on the like Psychology Today website?
Oh yeah. Like looking at reviews and things.
It's like MySpace for therapists, and it's just like it's no information.
Yeah,
it's like here's somebody, here's their face, here's a bunch of bogus information. Like what's their specialty? Like depression, life changes, relationships, life.
Yeah,
it's like they all say the same thing. And so the only distinguishing factor, like there's the different degrees kind of, and every once in a while there's like a specialty focus. But what I found out looking at therapists on Psychology Today is I don't trust the ones who look funny.
Really?
Yeah, like if it's like if it's a weird picture, it's kind of like when you go get your haircut and then you walk in and the person has a bad haircut. You're like, well,
yes.
Should I go through with this? And with a person's appearance doesn't have any correlation to their mental health.
Shouldn't.
Hopefully not. Until you get to the extremes. But I still picked up on things like, well, I don't know if I trust that person. They got a tooth like sticking up.
Yeah.
Their smile's kind of weird. Don't like them.
Yeah, I mean, it's automatic.
Yeah, and it's not how that's not how therapists are. Not, you don't look at them and then feel better, that you talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't get away from like, no, the ugly people are the criminals and the villains in the Disney movies, and the good looking people are the hero.
Absolutely. Yeah, and you don't get a lot of really unattractive influencers in the world these days, especially now that everything is a video.
2 seconds. Yeah.
And you see that person and you immediately make a judgment call. And it's like when I was way back in the day when I was waiting tables at Cracker Barrel in Oklahoma City, the servers who were more attractive got better tips. And they weren't nicer. They weren't better. They just got better tips.
Yeah, I got great tips.
Obviously. Yeah. That's why this is a video podcast.
That's so funny.
Yeah, it's just humanity, and I don't know. I mean, that's the thing that a lot of honestly, several of the big teachers of religions around the world, like Buddha, all about like bucking the system, turning it upside down, looking at things the opposite way, and not, instead of striving for things, like letting it go. And Jesus is all about lifting up the poor and the needy, and the person who would never in a million years be somebody who you would honor. He wants to honor those people. And I love in Dallas Willard's book, The Divine Conspiracy, he talks about the Beatitudes in Matthew 5 and how a good way to read them to kind of get the vibe that Jesus was trying to get across is to read them as, well, it says like, blessed are the poor in spirit, for they will inherit eternal life. That's what the verse says, and even in the Greek or whatever. But read it as, even the poor in spirit are blessed and will have eternal life. Even them. Even the poor, even the lowly, even those guys will have a place in my kingdom. And so it's not setting that, I think that the Beatitudes are not setting up, you should be poor in spirit, you should be these things. They're not ideals. They are Jesus' way of saying, even the lowliest outcasts in society, they're going to have blessings in my kingdom. They're going to be lifted up and exalted. And it's completely turning things upside down. And so I just can't get past I'm with you. I can't get past the fact that that's how the things were how things began in Christianity. And it took about 200 years, maybe 300 years after Jesus was teaching on the earth for everything to go power hungry. And it became all about structure and who's bishop over who and who's pope and how much power do they have. And that turned into a political system like immediately. And then Constantine came on and made it all even worse. So that's the frustration that I am still struggling with. And it's hard for me to distinguish between my frustration with Christianity being abused and used wrongly and the reality of Christianity.
Yeah.
I find myself constantly fighting with, am I thinking badly about like the Bible? Am I distancing myself from the Bible because I'm wanting to distance myself from Christian nationalism?
Right.
Or am I actually learning something that's valid? I mean, it's a struggle. That's why I'm constantly telling people I don't know what I believe anymore.
Yeah, I completely get that, because I now have a pretty deep gut reaction to the little micro signs that reveal that you're a evangelical Christian or not.
Yep.
And I used to be on the inside of that club, and so those little secret handshakes that we have were so great, and I really liked that part of, it feels subversive,
Yeah.
It's not super subversive, by the way, to be a plumber and put like a big old fish on your plumber, like Joseph's Plumbers in Christ or whatever your business name is.
The ichthus fish thing in your car?
The ichthus, or, there was a handyman van and it was like just a lot of crosses. And I was like, do you build capital punishment devices or you, anyways. But, those things are not as subtle, I don't think, as we thought. But I have this reaction against that because it feels surface level. But what I can't get away from this Jesus and God, because I want this society to be like what their documents say they should be like.
Yeah.
I think that's what frustrates me so much. And I want it to be true in my life. I want to be like, I really, really want to be like who I believe Jesus says we should be.
Yeah, I do too.
And it's hard to see it. And I wish the system, there's so many of us, and all of these Christians I grew up with are dedicated. Like when we were at the church we attended, like it was the biggest part of my life.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
I think, I judge the people who it was like maybe not the biggest part of their life, but they're still showing up. But the people there are earnest,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah.
And earnest plus they've got the Bible. Like, I want it to add up to more than what I'm seeing, you know?
Oh, you and me too, brother. I mean, I think that's always been a problem with.
Do you think it's because Jesus is the most attractive deity? Like, we got the best one. He's so good looking. And so then we're just like, I know the words coming out of that beautiful mouth of his were about like whatever, the meek or something, but he like, he's just a good looking guy. Like, I don't know who compares. We're not allowed to draw Muhammad, so nobody knows, you know, so it could be a toss up there. But, you know, if it was me, if it was like no portraits, and by the way, you can't do it for forever, I assume that guy's pretty ugly. You know, it's not like
I'm getting the vibe that you're a little biased towards people with beards and long hair.
yeah, white men with blue eyes and beards and long hair
Right.
are that's my jam. Although I do think the Hindus have us beat. They got some pretty good looking ones.
That's true. Like the blue skin's pretty cool.
The blue skin is super awesome. They got like cool jewelry, multiple appendages, which is, you know, useful.
I will say, in all seriousness, though, that the work that I think the work that Christians have done since, I'll say, all the way back to Constantine, the marketing that has been done for Christianity has tried to make Jesus attractive in a way that just a regular celebrity would be attractive.
Yeah.
And so you see all these like glorious pictures and statues of Jesus with, you know, like the rays and the sun, and you know he's never an ugly guy. And I mean, who knows what he looked like? He looked like everybody else. But the marketing that's been done since way back when, all up till now, is all focused on the stuff that it seems like Jesus was telling us not to focus on.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's one of those problems that everybody knows is there, and nobody knows how to fix it. And I mean, the fixing is just it's a heart thing. If you want to call yourself a Christian and focus on every single thing that is the opposite of that, then I don't really want to be associated with that. But that's where we are.
Yeah. I just remembered I've thought of the James verse about that it's the rich people who are dragging you to court. Why are you so enamored with them?
Mm-hmm.
But then I thought about the story of David, because I feel like David is used a lot as kind of like a flawed, blustery, but on the right side, you know. And that's a problematic story, and just the idea of him being a man after God's own heart, you know, that I definitely have a bias against. Like, when I think of David, I kind of think of Donald Trump. But ironically, the story of the selection of David is, you know, all these tall, strong, attractive men.
Yeah.
And what's his name? His family. And they pick the scrawny, little, effeminate shepherd boy who sings songs. Yep. And God's prophet doesn't understand this. And God says, I'm not looking at I don't judge people like you do. I look at the heart. And then, like, David's a pretty flawed guy. I don't know how the other people would have turned out. But we focus on the David part, and like he, you know, the story with Bathsheba is used to excuse people today who have affairs or something and are in public policy. But we don't look at the Samuel story and try to judge people's hearts and not strength and stature and,
you
know.
Yeah. I don't know what to say, man.
I didn't either. I don't want my instincts I don't want to be attractive to success. and to beauty and to prestige or power. And I don't know how to weed that out of myself, or or out of the church, but I want to see the people who are not that and see their value not in the way that my society sees their value.
Yeah, how do you start doing that? Because even like celebrity, the concept of celebrity is kind of one of those things. I mean, there's lots of ways one becomes a celebrity, but like attractiveness or whatever aside, um, you meet somebody or you come across somebody in real life that is a celebrity. You know,
Yeah.
sometimes people kind of freeze up and like, oh, it's like they're an untouchable being, like they're holy. And I don't know how to. I mean, it's just I guess it's just got to be a conscious thing that you are always focusing on, trying to trying to uh, deprogram yourself, because it's not only deprogramming society, but society is such as it is, largely because of the way our biology is, which is the bigger the better, the stronger the better.
Yeah.
And I think the more we can distance ourselves from that. Once again, not just Christianity shows this, all over the world for a lot of religions. The more you can distance yourself from that glorification being great, because for whatever reason, the more you are in touch with the divine. There's this idea of this kind of idea throughout the world and throughout history that earthly things are dirty or unclean, imperfect, not what we want to be, because we see the light. I think Buddha said life is pain, life is suffering. Right? I guess we see the suffering around us all the time, and we assume, we like to imagine that there's something not that,
Yeah.
and so it must be in the divine realm, and so that's like we assume everything is the opposite. And the only thing I can think of why American Christianity has gotten to the point it is that maybe Christianity has been that way for a long time and we just haven't been paying attention. Maybe it's not a new thing. Go back to the Do I Stay Christian book by McLaren. He gives a lot of examples of
Yeah.
how throughout history Christianity has just been used as a tool, and it's arguable whether or not the Christianity that the world has seen it has been a net good or not. That doesn't mean Christianity is useless or wrong or I mean, baby with the bathwater and all that. But I mean, these are the things that I think we are struggling with a lot these days in Deconstructionville. And I think your point about the who we honor is a very good way to show how, like, show that in real life. Like, it's a great
Mm-hmm.
example of the underlying or overarching problem.
Yeah. So I don't know what to do about Twitter and our new overlord Elon. I do know in the story of the 12-year-old girl who's died, and Jesus is pressing through the crowd, and then
Yeah.
there's this woman who touches him and kind of slows him down. I would have been an apostle that I just would have been livid at that woman
Yeah.
stopping Jesus from getting to the important guy, his house, to save his daughter.
Absolutely.
It's in me pretty deep, so I got to work on that.
Yeah. Me too, man.
I do, like you said. This is a wrap up, but the Christianity has been used to support structures like slavery or patriarchy or the Roman Empire or France or whoever.
Right.
I wonder if you can just assume that if Christianity is supporting the current power structure, that it's doing the wrong thing, right? Should it be so countercultural that Christianity never aligns you with, we're Americans, so it's capitalism, the Constitution,
Mm-hmm.
democracy, and um, now that I say that out loud, that's a very bad litmus test because both sides are going to use that pretty poorly. But should
I don't know that it's that far off from a decent litmus test.
should your Christianity, be supportive of the system you're in, or should it always be challenging you to question that system?
Well, I think that the arc of history, looking backwards, seeing the direction it's going, humanity is going to be focused on power and in many ways, whatever that power is. Yeah. And I honestly think that saying, if Christianity aligns with that power, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Just try again. Do better.
The arc of history leans, and maybe you should not lean in the same direction.
Right.
That's what I would say.
Yeah, there's enough forces around pushing it in the wrong direction or away from that.
Yeah.
That's probably a decent litmus test, I'd say. It's just everybody just needs to agree with us, Nathan. How can we?
Well, I agree with us, and I still don't know what to do. So
well, that's what needs to happen. Someone needs to magically wave a wand, and everybody agrees with us, and then we're good.
Yeah. I wonder if there's someone we could team up with who could just make people do it for us. Someone big and strong. Someone who has enough money, or someone really powerful. We could just get them to do it for us.
Yeah, and just like make it so that all the laws are the way that we want them to be, and all the judges are the way we want them to be.
Yeah.
And then
and the way we want it to be is to not align with that system.
Sure, so. Right. But I mean, you got to have being
you got to break a couple eggs.
You got to break a couple skulls to make a democracy. Wait, no, that's not right.
Christian nationalist omelet, or whatever we're making here.
Trying to the whole problem of trying to live in a world and not be like it.
Yes. Yeah. That's
hard. Some days I just want to give up. Not today, Satan.
Don't do that. I want to see how the generation that comes out of pandemic and Christian nationalism and all that, the ones who are in this uncomfortable space, your kids are an example of that generation. What are they going to do with Jesus? What are they going to do with the society that they're in? And are they going to be better or worse at their awareness and intention to follow or not follow that pattern?
Yeah, I mean, Gen Z seems to be a bit different.
Yeah.
They seem to be
worse.
Bucking the system.
The younger they are, the worse they are. That's my agreement, my opinion. But yeah, maybe we can give them some patterns to follow.
Yeah. Well, better head out. It's been good chatting with you.
You solved it.
No, well, yeah, using the big, strong guy, if that's what solving means. All right, talk to you later, Nate.
See you next time.
Hey, thanks for listening. We hope you got something out of the episode today. Check the show notes in your podcast app for all the links and references that were made, or you can find it all at followingthefire.com. If you'd like to support the show, please go to patreon.com/followingthefire to become a patron. And of course, we'd love it if you rate the podcast and share it with others. See you later.
And I'll give you all my heart. Don't you know it's all I have? Even on my heart can't compare with what you're worth. I have been running almost all my life, but you always chase me down.